our corrupt system, our late-stage republic, what's going on? What's the big deal? Is it the documents or is it something else? We'll talk about that. We'll talk to Jim Banks tonight. We have a hilarious throwback, lighten the mood. All that's coming up on I'm Right. Bread and circuses. Ever heard that little line before? Bread and circuses. Where'd that come from? Who came up with that? What is all this? Is that just a line in Gladiator? I think it was in Gladiator. But well, here's where the line bread and circuses came from. You see, rulers throughout the history of mankind have all understood something. They inherently understand something. And when I say rulers, this applies to whatever you want to call people. Call them prime ministers, call them kings, call them dictators, call them whatever you want to call it. The people in charge, the people who run a society, have always understood something. It's just something you get. They have always understood on some level, they still get to rule with the consent of the governed. And here's what I mean. Like in America, we have a representative republic. So our leaders understand they have to lie to you once every 2 to 4 years to try to get reelected about something. They do have to convince enough people to vote for them, and then they can't get too unpopular, right? They get that. A king, let's say a Roman emperor, even he understood you can't have too high of a percentage of the population mad at you. You can make a bunch mad. You can make them murderously mad. If that number creeps up too high, people are likely to rebel, likely to revolt. You might lose power. That's where they came up with all that bread and circuses stuff. Make sure you're tossing the people some bread. Put on the gladiator games, something, or chariot races. Give the people something to kind of placate them. Look, okay, they're mad. They're mad. They know I'm a corrupt piece of trash. But we can make that anger a little less. Keep me in power. Bread and circuses. You're experiencing the same thing right now in this country, and this is what you're experiencing. We are a late-stage republic, as I've explained. You don't need to feel bad about that, as I've explained that too. We have had an incredible run as a nation. It's been wonderful, and we're not almost done, but as a nation that peaked, that's behind us. We definitely peaked. We're a late-stage republic now. We got too rich, too fat, too bored, too lazy. Didn't stay connected enough to our founding, and now here's what's happening. We have a corrupt bunch of people who run this country, from private sector to the administrative state to the elected politicians, and none of them have any love of the place, so they're just in it all now to loot it. That's all. They all just want to get rich off your back. They want to loot the treasury, get rich, and relax the rest of their lives. There's no thought to America. They don't care about America. Most of them hate the friggin' place, but that's really all they're doing. And they're enjoying it. But they do understand something. It's just, again, rulers instinctively understand this. You can't get too mad, or then they're in trouble. You see, the Department of Justice, the FBI, whatever you want to call it, America's law enforcement apparatus, I would argue the past 6 years have probably done more damage to America's federal law enforcement arms, DOJ, FBI, all that stuff, than at any point throughout the history of the country combined. The last 6 years, if there was a graph or something like that, and let's say support was flat for the DOJ, FBI, whatnot, and you were to ask the average citizen, hey, what do you think about the FBI? But 9 out of 10 would be like, oh yeah, the G-men, boys in blue. And then about 6 years ago, it started to go down and down and down and down and down. That's what's happening right now in the country. And the system, they understand those numbers. You see, they're always polling everything too. They understand very well that your trust level in the justice system of the nation is going this way. Again, I don't care if you're one of the communists who hate watches the show or you're someone who agrees with me. Your opinion on what I just said doesn't matter. What I just said is a fact. Trust in the justice system is going down, and it's going down fast. And here's another fact to go along with that. That will end the nation if that continues. You cannot, your nation won't continue to exist for an extended period of time if a high enough percentage of the population feels that there's no justice to be had. The people will simply revolt, civil war, whatever. Pick your end, but there will be an end. The nation won't continue. It cannot continue if that trust continues to go down. So let's say you're one of the people in charge. What do you do about that? Let's say you're Merrick Garland. What do you do about the fact that you're the top law enforcement officer in the country, as Attorney General, that's what he is. You know that you are just a lackey for other elites, but you also understand that this can't continue. This has got to stop. Something has to be done to at least stop the descent. Hey, at least let's flatten it out, right? We got to stop the descent. So what do? Well, a lot of people have this misconception, to take a little sidestep here, a lot of people have this misconception that in the communist Soviet Union, that there was only one party. There was only the communists. You had to be part of the Communist Party or you couldn't be in it. You know, that's actually not true. Did you know that there was an opposition party? There was. It was created by Stalin and the communists. Because Stalin and the communists understood this concept very well. You better give the people the illusion of choice. You better give the people, in the case of our Justice Department, the illusion of justice. If they're getting too disenfranchised, too angry, that anger level is getting just too hot, you would better find a way to toss them some bread and put on some circuses, or you might find yourself in quite a pickle. Our rulers understand this the same way all corrupt rulers have understood this, which is why you're seeing what you're seeing now. The Trump raid. Trump raid was bad. Bad for the nation. Completely unjustified, but went ahead and ratcheted that anger level up even more. People watched 30 FBI agents storm into Mar-a-Lago. They really, okay, are you going to find dead bodies there? And then remember that they were initially selling us that it was nuclear codes, and then that turned out to not be true, so they're just putting out weird pictures online. Then as well, you had classified documents, and everyone kind of looked around and said, wait, you sent 30 FBI agents to his home for classified documents? What? Hold on, you kicked out his lawyer? So that took the anger level up too high. But the system realized it had an opportunity. You see, the system has wanted rid of Joe Biden for a very, very, very long time. Joe Biden, at least for a year and a half, has driven the popularity of the Democratic Party down to dangerous levels. They don't concern themselves with popularity too much until it gets to dangerous levels. Joe Biden is such an old fool and a bitter jerk and just generally an unlikable idiot that he's going to hurt you if he's the face of the party. And then you have the midterms. They would, okay, so now you're barely alive, but so is Joe Biden. He's barely alive. And now you need a fresh face for 2024. Okay, so what this provided, the DOJ, was the perfect opportunity. You see, they could toss the masses some bread, give them a circus. At the same time, they can get rid of Joe Biden. You see, Merrick Garland, he gets to get up there now and give this speech. Oh, the DOJ is not political.
We do not have different rules for Democrats or Republicans, different rules for the powerful or the powerless, different rules for the rich or for the poor. We apply the facts and the law in each case in a neutral, nonpartisan manner.
Well, that's, of course, a lie, of course. Merrick Garland's DOJ has spent the last 2 years attacking every single Republican group, attacking basically only Republicans for the last 2 years. You see this guy, Richard Barnett, retired firefighter, the guy that was pictured putting his feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk. He just got he's facing 20 years in prison. 20 years in prison for that dumb stunt. Don't tell me there's no bias. Of course there's bias. Everyone can see it. That idiot got 20 years for putting his feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk. In the meantime, communist street activists are outside of our Supreme Court justice homes breaking the law every single day. Here they are in front of Kavanaugh's house.
Should not rule the court. Cut his time short. A rapist should not rule the court. Cut his time short. A rapist should not rule the court. Cut his time short. A rapist should not rule the court.
Gosh, that's brutal. Anyway, so what you're seeing now with this whole Pence has documents too, Trump has documents, Biden has documents, Pence has documents, all you're seeing now Is the system giving you some bread and circuses, trying to calm that anger down a little bit? That's why all the swamp rats are already out there conflating the two now. Okay, Trump had him, Biden had him. Let's all just be bipartisan and let it go. Here's the guy Trump just campaigned with in South Carolina, Lindsey Graham.
What are your national security questions?
Same thing for Trump. I mean, why did you do it? What were in the documents? How were they held? Who had access to them? Let me just say this. I've known President Biden for a long time. I don't think I would be shocked if there's anything sinister here.
Of course. The swamp. Lindsey Graham is the swamp. Oh, no, I've known him for a long time. These people. Which leads me to one other thing. Let's wrap up this little opening of the show here. You know what I think about sometimes? I think about how fast times change. And not just technology-wise. I think about how fast times change when it comes to politics. Because I think about this. Do you remember before you even knew who Barack Obama was? Do you remember that? I do. It was politics, it was the Bushes, it was the Clintons, it was all this. And then there's some senator from Illinois, I'd never heard of him before, running for office. Who is this guy? And he was kind of an also-ran in the presidency until he beat Hillary Clinton. And then we all woke up and said, wait, what? And now he's Barack Obama. He is the architect of so much we see. 8-year president, he's Barack Obama. You know what? I'll be honest with you, and I can't believe I'm about to say this because this hurts. That feeling I used to get when I looked at Barack Obama and I didn't really know who he was yet. And I think about past Jesse, and I think, boy, you really should have been paying more attention to that guy because he's going to do lots of damage to your country. That's how I feel when I look at Gavin Newsom right now.
I mean, the Second Amendment's becoming a suicide pact, it feels like. I mean, it's just, and that's the only question the community wants. How do you what about our kids when they're going to school?
I feel like we should be more worried about that guy than we are. All that may have made you uncomfortable, but I am right. We have Congressman Jim Banks, one of the good ones. He's going to join us next. We'll talk about all these people getting kicked off of committees, so that's spicy. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about preparations. It gives me peace of mind to make preparations. Every day I wake up to the same headlines you wake up to. This disaster and this disaster. And now every single Tom, Dick, and Harry's guaranteeing a recession, and it's going to be a deep recession. And I get it. What do? Sit around and stress? No, I make preparations. Does every person in your home have an emergency 3-month food kit? Every one of them. Do you have 3 months worth of food, non-perishable, for every person who lives in your home? If you don't feel bad. I didn't. I was always trying to add granola bars, cans of beans, and stuff like that. My Patriot Supply has finally made this process easy because they have 3-month food kits ready to go. They're already ready. And they have them $200 off right now. Go to mypatriotsupply.com. Every person in your home needs an emergency 3-month food kit. Please don't eat it, by the way. Buy it and stash it for that rainy day that I pray never comes. I hope this goes to waste. mypatriotsupply.com, $200 off, all right? We'll be back.
Indiana deserves a conservative fighter in the United States Senate. But the radical Democrats and the spineless Republicans are going to do everything that they can to stop me. Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden have tried to block me before. They know I won't back down. But I need your help in the fight to restore America. Please go to banksforsenate.com to donate and get involved today. I'm Jim Banks, and I will always fight for our American way of life. America has given me the opportunity of a lifetime, and our daughters and our sons, they deserve nothing less. That's why I'm running for the United States Senate. Please join me.
It's the wildest thing. Over the past 10 years or so, I'd say we've had a good group of people in the House come up. Not low-T GOP types, but like a real solid group of people. And yet our Senate is still full of useless turds. There's like 4 good senators. And so when I find out we actually have an opportunity to get some of the good people over to the place that's full of useless turds, it excites me. How many congressmen do I even like? There's like 5. Congressman Jim Banks from Indiana is one of the true good ones out there, and now running for Senate, which is freaking awesome. Congressman, why not just stay in the House? What do you want to go be one of those dork senators for?
For the same reason that you just described, we need to shake up the United States Senate. You know, I've been in the House for 6 years and disappointed time and time again that there aren't enough Republicans who are fighting back against the radical Democrat agenda in the Senate, where they can actually stop things from happening, like the $1.7 trillion omnibus bill that passed a few weeks ago. If we would have had more conservative fighters in the Senate, we could have stopped it. So that's why I'm running for it. My current senator is running for governor, has opened up the seat. I've already got a large push by some moderates in my party to block me and recruit a candidate to take me on. But we're off to a good start. Tom Cotton, Marco Rubio endorsed me today. I expect some strong conservative support down the road. We're off to a good start. I'm excited about the campaign ahead.
That's a good start. It's definitely a good start. The most exciting part about that is they're already recruiting moderates to run against you. That tells me everything I need to know. All right, explain to me. I understand a senator is different than a House member. You have a whole state instead of one district. But why do so many senators suck that bad? It doesn't make sense. It should be, like, I would view that as the place where I look for leadership, right? I want to look to my senators as the place to lead. Senator Banks, what do you have to say about something? Instead, they just disappoint you and me time and again, and I don't understand why. Why does that happen?
You know, I have a political science degree. I don't know that I can give you a political theory on this, other than this. The last 6 years, we've seen the House change and the type of Republicans in the House, the type of leaders in the House, we understand as House Republicans, because of what we've been up against with Pelosi as the Speaker, that this is a war. The radical left is trying to destroy America, change it from inside out, and turn it into the socialist country that they hope for. And if we don't fight back with the same intensity that the left does, we're going to lose the war. So the 2-year election cycles in the House have offered a lot of turnover. You have a lot of the weak, old school establishment Republicans when I first got to the House 6 years ago who are long gone. But the 6-year cycles in the Senate means that turnover takes a lot longer to happen in the Senate. So I have an opportunity with an open Senate seat in Indiana to go over to the Senate and be the type of new Republican conservative fighter that the Senate needs to shake it up and push back, fight back against the radical left. That's exactly why I'm running. It's what I'm going to do.
Let's talk about the House for a moment. One thing I've been pleased with so far is some of the moves I've seen the new Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, make, including the absolute revenge move of kicking losers like Schiff and Swalwell off of committees. This should be done because they did it to us, and unless there's mutually assured destruction, they'll never stop playing these games. Of course, Hakeem Jeffries is whining about it. What say you?
Well, I'm the guy that got kicked off of a committee by Nancy Pelosi.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you think that I feel? I mean, Nancy Pelosi was never forced to answer the question by the left-wing mainstream media about why she blocked me from serving on the fake sham January 6th committee, the first time in congressional history that the Speaker of the House denied the appointments of the minority leader to serve on a select committee. I'm the guy. It's on my Wikipedia page. It says I'm the first guy in congressional history to be kicked off and blocked from a committee by the Speaker. So you better believe it that I expect Speaker Kevin McCarthy to do exactly what he did. He kept his word, and he's blocking Eric Swalwell, who was engaged in a sex scandal with a Chinese Communist Party spy. How in the world do Democrats with a straight face could they believe that this guy deserves to be on the powerful and important Intelligence Committee handling classified information when he was caught with a Chinese Communist spy? And then you have Schiff, who is a known liar. He's lied about all kinds of issues, but issues related to the national security of our country. That guy should never be allowed anywhere near classified documents and important national security related secrets for our country. So I'm glad, I'm very pleased that Speaker McCarthy followed through on his word to kick these two goons off of the important Intel Committee, and I'm standing up for him and see that, just like you do, as a sign of of how different House Republican leadership is than they were 6 years ago when I first came to Congress.
All right, finally, I've got to ask you about the drug abuse in this country. Obviously, we have people in Seattle talking about the morgues are filling up. We don't need to go into all the details of it, but this fentanyl crisis is real. I don't expect Congress and the Senate to be able to solve a fentanyl crisis, but what can we do? We are an addicted nation and we're killing ourselves.
Yeah, this is, I mean, it's really crazy. It's sad. And I don't talk to hardly any family anymore in Indiana who hasn't been affected by the drug crisis. Fentanyl, the leading cause of death of Americans, yours and my age today. But there is something that we can do about it, and that's stop the supply of fentanyl and drugs coming over the wide open southern border. Demand that the Biden administration secure the border, build the wall, stop the drug cartels from having full and free reign of our southern border, declare war on the Mexican drug cartels. So this madness has to stop. I actually think Congress can do a lot to stop it. I said last week, I will not support raising the debt limit or frankly any other massive omnibus or spending bill until this administration secures the border first. That should be the first and primary responsibility of the Biden administration. They're not doing it. So why would I vote for any more government spending above normal levels of where it is today if the Biden administration isn't spending money where it should be spent on, which is to save this country and secure the border?
Can you give out your website again, Congressman? Because you're one of the few people I actually want in the Senate.
banksforsenate.com. I really appreciate it. We're off to a strong and great start, but we need your help. I mean, they're coming after me. We already see it. We already know it. We know who they're recruiting to run against me. So we very much appreciate your help. Go to banksforsenate.com and help us out today.
Banksforsenate.com. How often do I do that? I never do that. How about that? Congressman, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
No more low T GOP. You know what I should have asked Jim? I bet you he's on a male vitality stack from Chalk. He's only been in Congress for 6 years. He's the one holding McCarthy's feet to the fire, getting concessions. Joe Biden, no, you don't get your debt limit. Build a wall. I bet your money is on a male vitality stack. Natural herbal supplements, not big pharma filth. Natural herbal supplements, 20% increase in your testosterone in 90 days. Do you have any idea, fellas, how much different you'll feel? Ladies, don't worry. They have a female vitality stack. Are you ready to be bursting with energy at 2 or 3 in the afternoon instead of just dying and needing a cup of coffee? Go get a subscription, a Chalk subscription. They have endless natural herbal supplements. I take the whole male vitality stack every day. That's what I take. I also use their lip powder every day. The wife makes smoothies with it. Just go see what they have, all right? 35% off subscriptions. You cancel it if it doesn't do exactly what I tell you it does, but it does. Go to chalk.com, promo code Jesse gets you that 35% off. Chalk.com, promo Jesse. We'll be back. All right, it's time to lighten the mood. And you probably remember the old Kavanaugh protests. You remember that, right? Brett Kavanaugh was going up for to be in the Supreme Court, and then there were all these horrible protests by the communists back in Washington, D.C., and you probably remember that this is kind of before I ended up getting this show on the first, and before I ended up getting a radio show. I was just kind of goofing off and having fun, and I decided I was going to go undercover in the Kavanaugh protests. Well, here's what you might not understand. Everyone remembers the part of me meeting Elizabeth Warren, running into Elizabeth Warren at the protests on Capitol Hill. If you don't remember, don't worry, we're going to play it for you in a second. But you know that was totally luck. Me and a couple buddies just got to Capitol Hill, and I was in the undercover T-shirt and glasses, only we were behind the Supreme Court. So we're here, and the Supreme Court is here, and the protests are here, right? So we're back behind it. We have to figure out how to get around the Supreme Court, and we're looking for different avenues. Hey, what sidewalk do we take? And we look down this avenue, and we think, wait, that's Elizabeth Warren. She was coming from the front back our way. I said, I think that's Elizabeth Warren. They're like, yeah, I think that's Elizabeth Warren. Turn the camera on. And we took off down that sidewalk for Elizabeth Warren. And that brought the video I'm going to show you in a second. Before I get to that video, let's do this really quickly, though. When times get tough, especially really all the time, when times get tough and when you're facing some uncertainty out there financially, it is important. The best advice I ever got was buy things you can touch and feel. Touch and feel. Where do you go? What do you buy? What did Carol Roth tell you all the time on the show? Hard assets. You know you should have gold and silver as part of your 401k or IRA, right? That prevents the market from wiping out another 30% of your wealth like it did last year. That's solid stuff. Oxford Gold Group, they have a 1-2-3 protection plan. What is that? It's getting gold and silver in your 401k and IRA. Not all of it. It's a protection plan. Consider it insurance for your retirement. Call them, all right? They're my people. Call them. Call 833-995-GOLD. Tell Oxford Jesse told you to call. I don't work with anybody else. They'll send gold and silver to your house. They'll do your 401k, IRA. Oxford Gold is your route, all right? All right. So here was me running into old Liz.
Love you.
Love your t-shirt.
Run for president, please.
Right now, we got to be in this fight. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take
Appreciate
care.
you. He's going down tonight.
That was so fun. I'll see you tomorrow.